It wasn't the preacher, my seat on the pews. It wasn't some pastor or the Christian things that we do. It wasn't some t-shirt or some Christian song, but I was saved by the blood. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was laying on the hospital bed and the doctor came in the room, muttered something under his breath and said, well, him, he's as good as dead. And my mother, she came into the room moaning and mourning. You see, she had cried all night, so she didn't answer the door when Joy came knocking in the morning. She said, doctor, what are his symptoms? And the doctor chuckled again, flipped through his clipboard and said, well, ma'am, he has sin in his system. And the sin has gotten so bad that it's got into his legs and he can't stand. Crippled by his own will, so now he's trapped in a wheelchair. You can search his whole life, but we'll find God's will there, because God to him, no God to me. Was about as useful as a spare. The sin left my legs and made the way into my intestines, like no progress, no change. It was like going to a restaurant, having the greatest time, tipping the waiter $1, saying, here, no change. Ain't it strange? I would go to church and go to camp and go to concerts and do the exact same thing. Pretend to give God all the glory and the praise, walk out those doors with no change. The sin stopped in my heart on its way to my brain. You see, love left because lust was home. I refused to put away childish things. I would take women's hearts and play patty cake. And in between the sins that I would contemplate, God would speak, and I would refuse to participate. Brain, so washed by sin, I could only be a pretender. Found out the father that I got from the father that I got from his son. The more that it burned when I got guilty and tried to re-enter. I literally had everything I needed, like a Ninja Turtle, but with no splinter. No wonder it was difficult being comfortable on Sunday services, sitting on wooden pews, too many splinters. I was so sure that my, God bless you, brother, how you doing, sister, made me one of you. But all I had to do was act as a part, change what I did on the outside and let my heart stay dark, so sure. But all I had to do was sing in the choir, not love God, read the Bible, or change my desires. I just knew that if I acted like you, that my name needs to be on that roster. But it turns out you can do all that Christian stuff for years and still spiritually be a monster. And right before justice pulled the plug, a man bursted into the room. His name tag said Jesus. He said, I can save him with love. They inquired, how much? A quart, a pint. He said, to save him, to save them, to save men. It'll take all of my blood. So he urgently came down through 42 generations perfectly and prepared himself for spiritual surgery. He took his word like a scalpel and cut me open, took out this heart that was weary, wounded, and broken, and gave me a heart of flesh that could respond to his word, and now I know who to hope in. He took his word and he put it in a blender and poured it down my throat like prune juice, to clean me out, right? You know those stoppages and blockages and that unforgiveness from 6 years ago when that person could call you and you would never call them back. He said, Alex, if I'm coming into your life, I want all of you. So if I'm moving in, get rid of all your old furniture. Those things you used to rest on. He held out his left wrist, punctured it with a nail, a syringe, and my eyes began to see again. You see me. I thought the Bible was like this book of clever riddles. But he was like, shh, I can be the doctor as long as you do little, but I only talk to lambs. He held out his right wrist and did the same. And my heart began to beat again. You see me, I was drowning in the waves of his love. I was so lost. Funny, now my life was being saved because of his blood lost. How dare I complain like my life was so hard? We should be grateful that Jesus Christ had a pink dot on his ID card. So the only cure for confusion is a blood transfusion. Your heart and Jesus Christ created some type of spiritual, physical union. So before it's too late, cooperate. During camp, open up your heart and let him operate, because grace, love, joy, peace is all that he's trying to provide. But please don't bust him out if he touches the sides, if he deals with your lies, if he deals with your pride. Because here's what God does when you think you're too fly. He willingly went to the cross for the lost, poured out his B negative so we wouldn't have to be negative, and A, that's positive. Now nothing we do is in vain. This God wanted to make sure that we could trust him, that we can love him. But despite that, there will be hard times. You have to stand in the midst of darkness and be a light. But let me encourage you. In those moments, find yourself a mirror. Matter of fact, take out your phone, pretend you're taking a selfie. Look yourself in the face and say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, because I remember the time a blood donor saved my life. Because it wasn't the preacher, your seat on the pews, wasn't some pastor or the Christian things that you do, not some t-shirt or some Christian song, but we were saved by the blood. There will be darkness. You have to stand in the midst of it and know that you've been called to be a light. But let me encourage you, in those moments, remind yourself, I can do this. I can change. I can be born again because a blood donor saved my life. Somebody make some noise for the blood of Jesus. Make some noise for the blood of God.